Welcome back, baseball fans, and welcome to another episode of the Vintage Vegas 9 Ball, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada, at the beginning of December here in 2025. Starting to get a little chilly here in Las Vegas. It's rodeo season, and the Cowboys have brought the colder weather. The high today is going to be 55 and a low 38, so getting a little chilly in the morning and at night, but still sun shining and still better than most places, so we're very thankful for that. And without further ado, let's get to the Vintage Vegas 9 Ball for today. First card is a Pete Vukovich here with the Cardinals. And he was a good pitcher, really good pitcher in the 80s for the Cardinals. And then he would move on to the Brewers, where he is a really good pitcher for them, the ace of their staff for several years. And yeah, here he is with the tarp sneaking up behind him. And yeah, he was also known as the villain in the movie Major League. He actually played a batter in that movie, facing the Indians and Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn. But yeah, really good pitcher in the 80s. Won several games. Let's look at his stats here on the back. Yeah, had the third best earned run average in the National League during 1978. And was 15-10 in 1979 for the Cardinals. And yeah, for the Cardinals in 78, 2.55 ERA, and then in 79, 3.59. And at the time of this card, he was 41-34. And yeah, really good pitcher for several years in the big leagues. And here he is in 1980 for the Cardinals, with the tarp sneaking up behind him. Pete Vukovich. Next card is a Vince Coleman, the speedster for the Cardinals in the 80s. And what he doesn't realize is there's also a tarp sneaking up behind him. And yeah, on a freak accident, and I think it was a 1985 World Series against the Royals, somehow the tarp rolled up on his leg, and he was unable to play in that series, in the World Series in 1985 against the Royals, I believe. Yeah, real freak accident, and yeah, couldn't happen to a better team, but they'd go on to lose that World Series to the Royals in 1985. A real controversial play, I believe, at first base. The Cardinal fans like to blame that for the loss in the series. But anyways, yeah, Vince Coleman. He would recover and still have several seasons after that, being a leading stolen base guy for the Cardinals. But yeah, here he is, Vince Coleman, with a big smile on his face after he is healed from that tarp injury. Vince Coleman, good player for the Cardinals. Put him on a stand. Next player is a Milt Pappas. Here he is with his hat. Looks like they may have only gotten one or two hats the entire year back then. It looks like he sat on this one a few times. And yeah, Pappas was a great pitcher for the Cubs. He's actually traded from the Orioles to the Reds for Frank Robinson at one point in his career before he moved on to the Cubs. He also threw a no-hitter for the Cubs and several games over 500. Let's check the stats. Yeah, at this point in his career, it was 202 and 152. So 50 games over 500 with a 3.35 ERA. So a real front of the rotation guy. And yeah, strange thing about Pappas is his wife, after he retired around 1980, in the early 80s anyways, his wife disappeared. And they couldn't figure out what happened to her. She was gone for several years, and they couldn't find her. And finally, about 5 years later, they ended up finding her car in the bottom of a pond, about a block away from his home. I guess she'd been drinking one night, I think, or maybe she wasn't drinking. But anyways, somehow her car ended up in the bottom of the pond. Nobody found her for 5 years. And yeah, so that was strange. And that was a big story in Chicago, how Pappas' wife went missing without a trace. And they found her submerged in her car several years later. But yeah, strange story, good pitcher. And we'll put him on the Cubs stand for his great years pitching for the Cubs. Next card is a Bob Oliver. And yeah, I like this card. I like the photo. Several strange things about this card. How there's palm trees in the background. He has a jacket on. I'm sure he's in spring training in Florida. He also has a helmet on while playing first base. And the palm trees in the background. It's a nice touch. And yeah, Bob Oliver had a two or three good years with the Royals. Let's check the back of this card. Bob set Royals record with 276 total bases in 1970. So, let's see his stats that year. 24 home runs. Or 27 home runs, 99 RBIs, and a 280 average. So he was a good first baseman for the Royals during the early 70s. And he's also the father of pitcher Darren Oliver, who pitched a long time in the big leagues for the Rangers and the Cardinals. And yeah, Darren was a lefty, but his dad was a right-handed first baseman. And yeah, Bob Oliver, good career for the Royals. Bob Oliver. Speaking of strange cards, here is a Jack Acker. And yeah, Acker, he was a closer, and here he is standing in front of looks like the Little House on the Prairie, and just a strange looking card. That they had the things they had in the background, they just didn't care, you know, back in those days. But yeah, Jack Acker, he was a closer for the A's and also the Cubs for a few years, and the Yankees, I believe, as well. But yeah, here he is. I guess he's at spring training, and it looks like he's standing in front of the Little House on the Prairie. A strange looking card, but yeah, Jack Acker, back of the bullpen guy for several teams. Had a good career. I think he was a Union leader too. Next card is Riders on the Storm here. Phillies 1979 prospects. Jim Morrison and Lonnie Smith and Jim Wright. And yeah, the best player on this card is Lonnie Smith. Lonnie Smith, of course, I believe between 1980 and 1990 played on 4 different teams that went to the World Series. I think 1980s he was on that Phillies team, and then he was traded to the Cardinals, and I think they went in 82, and then 85 for the Royals, and I believe 1990 for the Braves. So yeah, winning ball player Lonnie Smith. Of course, he was documenting those Pittsburgh drug trials. He struggled with some addiction during the 1980s, and yeah, good player for a long time in the league, Lonnie Smith, and here on the card with Light My Fire, Jim Morrison and Jim Wright. Lonnie Smith, good ball player. Next card is Ivan DeJesus, and he was a Cubs shortstop for a long time, and you see him here as a member of the Phillies. I like the shot in the all blues. I love those Philly uniforms, the all blues, and yeah, he has the sweatband on. Nice look. And we'll always be grateful as Cubs fans for Ivan DeJesus because he was traded for Ryan Sandberg and Larry Boa. I guess for Larry Boa, and Ryan Sandberg was a throw-in in that deal. And that's a nice looking card with him on the Phillies. Let's see in the back. You see How acquired there. How acquired. Traded from Cubs to Phillies for second baseman Ryan Sandberg and shortstop Larry Boa. And then career highlights, ranked third among shortstop and fewest errors in 83. And led shortstops and putouts in 81. So yeah, Ivan DeJesus. Put him on the Cubs stand for his major contribution to helping the Cubs acquire Rhino. Next card is a Jim Abbott, and this is a strange card as well. One, because there was no DH in the American League in the early 90s. So I'm not sure what he's doing batting here, or trying to put down a bunt. Of course, you know, Abbott only had the one hand, so very difficult for him to bat. But he would move to the National League and pitch for the Brewers towards the end of his career. He actually got a couple of hits in the big leagues, and I bet you can't guess what team he got him off of. You guessed it, the Cubs. Got a couple hits off the Cubs. I think it's only 2 hits. He was like 2 for 25 or something like that in his big league career. But a couple hits he got off the Chicago Cubs. Jim Abbott. Put him on the stand. And the last card of the day is John Fatzlieber. And this is the guy who Jim Abbott got both of his hits off of, which is kind of strange because he was always one of the Cubs' better pitchers when they had him. And here he is at Wrigley Field getting ready to throw one in there. And let's look at his stats for the Cubs. Yeah, in 2001, he actually won 20 games for the Cubs. And yeah, he was a good pitcher. The Cubs got him for the Pirates. And he had several good seasons as a front of the rotation guy for the Cubs. I always liked him. John Lieber. And we'll put him on the stand. And we appreciate you watching. And take care and God bless.